Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're in week 11. Yes, week 11. Eagles are 5-6. Welcome to Flying High with the Birds podcast, brought to you by Kitchen World. With us, we have, maybe we'll back it up and go the other way this time. We'll be hunting Sealy. He's number one because, why is that, Jimmy?
He knew.
I don't know.
He knew. He's the prophet.
The dude gets married. This is his
Oh,
last podcast as a single guy. Oh, good.
The new
Jeez.
son-in-law.
Almost time. It's almost time. You guys
Better
can
make
get
it
here.
good. All right,
He's-
we got the
he's
big
got his
V.
son-
Yeah, we got the big V with the Philadelphia outfit on. What's up,
Yeah.
dude?
What's up, guys? Representing the Sixers, that big W last night.
Ah, that's
know.
right. We got-
Tyrese Maxey.
We got the Armenian Hammer.
What's up, guys?
I believe the Hammer is the reason why the subscriptions are going up to about 10 or 12 people right now. Don't you think so, Will?
I think so.
I got a funny feeling. So, you know, it's amazing. I mean, it went from
Popular
2
guy.
to 10. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. Very interesting game. The Eagles win the game against New Orleans 40-29, which I didn't see happening at all. They moved to 5-6 on the season. Some highlights: Miles Sanders returns as the number one running back, and he ran for 96 yards, but he had a costly fumble and almost 2, but he looked really, really good in his return. Jalen Hurts didn't throw the ball too much, but he ran for 3 touchdowns and actually broke some ankles on his last touchdown run. Big play Slay scored his 3rd touchdown of the season with the 50-yard interception return. He's really coming into his own, and I see him being an all-pro this year. TJ Edwards with a pick and a fumble recovery, he's really coming into his own. A guy that we don't talk about that much, Jake Elliott, with 4 field goals, 4 for 4, one of them from 50 yards. He looks as good as he did the first year he was here. The Eagles run the ball 50 times, which is almost a record. But on the negative side, the Saints were playing without one big player, and that was Alvin Kamara, which I think would have made a little bit of a difference. And finally, on the negative side also, Davion Taylor left the game at the end of the first quarter with the knee injury, the same exact knee that he had a problem with last year. And I know that he will be inactive at least for this week, and I'm not sure if he's going to go on temporary IR.
Just
he
got
is on
surgery.
IR.
He got
He is on
surgery
IR.
a few hours ago.
He's out for the season?
3 weeks. They said minimum 3 weeks. He's on IR. He just got surgery about an hour ago.
All right, so if it's 3 weeks and it's Davion Taylor, you know what that means? It's 6 weeks. Davion Taylor takes a long time to heal. So I don't know if it's from being out in Colorado, but he takes a long, long time to heal. So let's get started right away. Vahe, let's talk about this run game. What do you think?
It's a ticket. It's the right chemistry, the right formula. That's the way it should go. My only concerns basically is that how serious his injury is, because if you guys remember last Sunday, after he was out, they couldn't run at all. And I think he is the most important player on the running side for the offense. I mean, he has a knack, and I hope it's only temporary, maybe a couple of weeks, and we're back after the break. But he should be our number one, not somebody else. And the reason is basically is that he makes things happen, and he always gets you like that 3-4 yards, and that's what they need more than anybody else. So I hope it's something temporary, and he'll be back because they're gonna need him down the stretch. Miles Sanders, man, every time he touches the ball, I'm afraid that something's gonna happen. He's gonna fumble the ball or whatever.
I agree. What I love about Howard is he knocks the defense over. He had those 3 straight runs when he came in, and he got what it was 16 yards, maybe 10 yards, and another 5. But he was knocking the defense over, and he had the defense had them looking at one another, shaking their heads.
The left side, it's unbelievable.
Oh.
Our left offensive line, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, right. That's right. Wait a minute. On those runs that Howard had up the middle, I think he had 3 out of 4 that were just 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't you think that Landon Dickerson had something to do
Oh,
with
it was,
those runs?
it
Yeah,
was
I'll
great.
tell you. I'm going to start calling Dickerson and Malata the Pancake Boys. They're Dickerson. I'm liking him more and more and more every single week. So, but getting back to the running back game, I mean, Will, what's your thought on this with Howard?
I mean, Howard's going to be a big loss. He's clearly, I don't want to say he should be the number 1 back, but he's clearly a big spark to this team. The way he hits the hole so hard, I mean, it's really helping out our offense. He's definitely going to be a big loss for us. But you know, Miles Sanders is back, so that's a plus. I think he's still kind of shaking off the rust for being out a few weeks. We do know he puts the ball on the ground often, at least in the past, but he has gotten better with that. So hopefully he can shake that off, and you know, we'll move on from there.
I respectfully disagree with all 3 of you. I think that Sanders is RB number 1 through and through right now. Listen, I know he's fumbles, and it's, you know, it'll happen. Remember, Tiki Barber fumbled a lot when he played for the Giants, but he was always a running back number 1. Sanders is a game breaker, and I still think that he's very good out of the backfield, catching the ball too. And he's a decent blocker out of the backfield. Maybe not as good as Howard, but he's decent. He's more than average, I think. So, in my opinion, I think Sanders is still the guy at running back, and he will be the number 1 guy this week, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
did you guys say that Howard is out this week?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
he's out. I heard he's
Oh,
out.
he's out
Yeah.
this week.
That's
And
what I
was
heard.
what was it, a knee?
Yeah, knee
Yeah.
sprain.
But you know, it was funny. The play he got hurt on, I couldn't tell whether it was his neck when they showed the replay, his neck or his shoulder. I had no idea, or it could have been his knee, the way he got hit, but the way he came down on his head, I wasn't sure exactly what it was, or it may have been, I thought it might have been a concussion too. So, yeah, he's really, really good. He runs real well behind that line. That line is really good. So
The positive is we never used to run the ball. Now we run the ball all the time. and
all the
dominate.
time.
Now
Now,
we
well,
don't pass the ball.
yeah. Now, Jimmy, let's stay on the running backs now. Did you really like the running back distribution this week? Now, think about this. Howard, I think, didn't really start running the ball until like the second quarter. Boston Scott, I don't think got any touches until the second half, and maybe he got a pass or two. Did you like the running back distribution, or do you think it was a little too one-sided with Sanders?
I mean, I would have started Howard. You know how I feel, but I didn't have an issue with it. They got up 14 real quick, and it looked like once they got up, they used Howard to pound the ball and milk the clock a little bit and wear the defense down. So I didn't have that big of an issue with it. I was worried when Sanders fumbled almost for the second time, but he looked good in his return. He looked really good, and I think him and Howard complement one another really well. And let's not forget about Jalen Hurts. He makes some plays on his feet. He's got a lot of heart, and that touchdown was nice that he ran in. He snuck that ball in. I wasn't even sure if he knew he broke the plane with the ball, but I gotta admire him a little bit because it looked like he went right up to the official like, "Oh, you're gonna check that, right? Because I broke the plane with that."
Yeah.
But I had no issues with it. I like Howard. I would have started him, but it worked out for him. They started Sanders. They were up really quick. Sanders made some really good big plays, and then Howard came down and he just was knocking the defense all over. And that was the number 1 ranked rushing defense, I think.
Yeah, I don't have a problem at all of how we distributed the ball. I mean, this is working. This is the identity of the Eagles. We're a really strong run team, and it's run first. I mean, we've shown the last couple of weeks that we really don't have to rely on the pass, and we should just keep pounding the ball until we have to pass.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's stick with Hurts for a second. And Will, I'm going to direct this to you. On our group text on Sunday, it's so funny. I'm watching Hurts. I'm really impressed with him. And then I see two bad throws, and then I see this text come across from Will. Hurts stinks. Um, let's just dissect this a little bit. It seems like Hurts is having really good half games. The second half, maybe not so much. So I don't know if that's coaching or whatever. Do you think that Hurts is doing himself any good by having these continuous great half games?
This is really how I feel about Hurts. It's not so much as like I don't like him. I'm just kind of like I'm disappointed because you can see how great the offense can be and how effective we are running the ball. And it's just like, damn, if this guy could just throw the ball accurately or sit in the pocket for a half a second and actually read a defense, we could really, really have something. But it's just frustrating every time. I don't even see pressure coming. He just starts scrambling in a circle in a pocket that hasn't even collapsed yet. And there's such a you could just sit there for an extra second and just take your time and throw a pass. He's got to grow. He's got to grow as a passer. What we're doing right now is working. I don't know how long it's going to work for. Like it's working right now. It's really effective, and the passing game is set up from the run. So I still need to see him take that extra step and learn how to make reads inside the pocket and not be so quick to move. And it's just frustrating. Like I know he can run the ball, but I've never seen a quarterback win a Super Bowl that can run the ball. So that's really what's frustrating to me. I know we're winning and I know everything looks great. I know he's, people get excited when he makes these big runs and it's great. But I need to see him throw the ball. He's the quarterback.
One thing that I like to say about that is basically is that he only has Dallas Goedert and he has Devontae Smith. That's it. Nobody else. I mean, Rieger's complete waste. I mean, I don't even know why he still plays. The guy, every time he touches the ball, it's going backwards. And that's not an exaggeration. That's a fact. So can you imagine, instead of picking Rieger, they picked Justin Jefferson, and you had Justin Jefferson on one side and you had Devontae Smith on the other, and Dallas got it in the middle. I mean, it would have been amazing. Now, I understand, Bill, well, you're saying basically that, he has an issues with throwing, but who is he going to throw to? I mean, Rieger, his IQ probably is, I don't even know the guy has any football IQ, honestly. I mean, he picked up, for one of the punts, he picked the ball at the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
Tackle at the 10-yard line. Just let the ball go to the end zone, Jay. At least you can get at the 20. I mean, the guy has no concept of what's going on, honestly. And
yeah, but look at the other receivers. We still got Watkins. I mean, JJ Arcega-Whiteside basically comes out to the block. We all know it. He had one catch, and I know I'll hear about it later because I gave him crap last week. But why are these guys not getting any targets at all? Like, are these plays designed for specifically Goddard or Smith? And if he's open, he's throwing, and if he's not, he's running? Or is he just not reading the defense?
Yeah.
I don't know. These are still NFL receivers. Whether they're good or not, they should still be able to get a pass attempt at them. Like, they're not getting anything.
I think it's route running. I think a lot of them aren't good route runners. So why doesn't Ward play a little bit? Because he's a pretty decent route runner. I don't know. I'm just confused. But let's stay with the run. Let's stay with the receivers, Vahe. This is a really big point here because they're at a point now where the Eagles are they're running the ball great. Hurts is a great runner. He throws to 2 receivers and that's it. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a defensive coordinator that's going to figure this whole thing out and make him do the other things that he's not doing. So how vulnerable do you think this offense will be with this very limited receiver production and only one guy, maybe 2, that are really catching all the passes now?
You know what? It's the offensive line. Because the thing is that you have a stud offensive line who creates that running routes. If it wasn't for the running, we'll be in deep trouble. But the fact that basically you have Jordan, and Dickerson next to each other always opens the lanes for you. And case in point, last Sunday, right? I mean, you're supposed to have the best defensive team against the run, right? As if they didn't even exist. The lanes were wide open. So you're right. I mean, the thing is that you can scheme around your wide receivers, but thank God for our line creates those, opens up for the runs to go through. And that there's nothing you can do. It's macho, guys against, big bodies against each other. So how are you going to scheme against that? So from that perspective, I'm happy that they have that line. Now, if any one of them go down, then you got a problem. But as long as Jordan and Dickerson next to each other, they're healthy, you're good.
Could you imagine what they're going to do next year when they have Saimalo coming back and Brandon Brooks, who they said is very, very close to coming back too. And at this point, I think that Kelsey's going to play next year.
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
think he wants to leave this scenario.
They look like they're having a lot of fun playing too. They look
Did
like
you?
they're having a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Did you see
Ever
on?
since they start running the ball, it looks like they love it.
Oh yeah. What about the one run by Sanders around the left side where he gained about 25 yards? Did you see the 3 blocks downfield that Kelsey made?
Yeah. Yep.
I kept looking at that, and I didn't know who it was because I know Dickerson and Driscoll get down there pretty good too. But it's funny. I think that Dickerson is feeding off of Kelsey, and Kelsey is feeding off of Dickerson, and Mulata is just a great blocker.
Their feet off one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you're right. But Jimmy, let's stay with these receivers. And I know that Will hates talking about Rieger, but I'm going to mention him one last time. In your opinion,
Me too, by the
Jimmy,
way. I hate me too. I hate
Yeah, I'm
Rieger
tired.
too.
well, I know Will really hates him and hates talking about him. But I'm going to bring this up one last time, Jimmy. In your valued opinion, if you are the coach, all right, with the blooming flower, do you think it might be time to make his ass inactive? Inactive.
It's coming to that point because we're getting nothing from it.
If he was not a first round draft choice,
He would be on the bench,
he-
100%.
he may not even be on the team at this point.
Well, we got Whiteside on the team still too. So, but no, I'm with you 100%. It's getting to that point. And like you were saying earlier, just like look at who we could have had. Could you imagine that 1-2 punch right now?
Oh my God.
I was thinking about that Sunday after the game. I was like, man, could you imagine?
Could you see if Metcalf was the guy blocking instead of Whiteside?
Yeah.
But you guys know, if we did end up getting Metcalf or Jefferson, we wouldn't have Devontae Smith. They would have already drafted the receiver. We would have never got those guys.
We might have I don't know. We had Jefferson. I don't know. Maybe we did get, who knows, but at least we got Devontae Smith.
They would have. I guess they would have picked Micah Parsons then with that pick instead
Might
of
have
Smith.
taken one of
Would
them.
have.
They had
They
Metcalf
would
and
have. And
Jefferson.
Armin would have been so
Oh
disappointed.
no, he's playing good. He had 2 sacks last week. He
The
looked
good
really good.
side about this is the Eagles are making football fun again. For the
Yeah.
first 5 or 6 weeks, it was tough. At least it's fun again to talk about them.
I was feeling great during that game. I was shopping on Amazon for bags, seeing what sizes I could get.
Well, it was funny. I sent that general text out to you guys, and I said, if Will gets this right on the money, which it looked like was close to happening, because if they scored a touchdown, got the extra point, then they kicked the field goal, it would have been 33-17. And I said I would have wore it back for the whole podcast. Now, could you imagine that? Will would have had a great week. He's getting married Saturday. He wins the week, and his future father-in-law has to wear a bag for a whole damn podcast. So I'm glad it worked out the way it did. But he may end up being a loser when we all figure this thing out anyway. But
Well, you're winning, dude. Look at you, man.
yeah, but now let's go to the defense for a second. And Will, I'll pose this to you. Number one, did you note the size of Gannon's play sheet, which I thought was very interesting? And I know he dialed up blitzes. So do you think that coming up that he should be dialing up more blitzes? And who are the blitzers in your opinion?
He definitely does. I mean, I know that we're not going against any great quarterbacks the next few weeks, so I expect him to be blitzing a lot. I haven't, for some reason, it's shocking. I haven't really seen too much of the high safeties, which is very ironic, I guess. um, blitzing wise, Alex Singletary maybe because I don't think he's that great in coverage, but he's good, attacking the quarterback, even though he's a little late to get there. Is it me, or does it seem like we're getting pressure, but we're getting 0 sacks?
That's true, but they're getting the pressures, and any defensive coordinator or defensive line coach will tell you he can live without the sacks if he gets a ton of pressures. And this team is definitely getting pressures, although there are some guys that are not, in my opinion.
Our front four is still extremely weak, and they're just not having a great season. But the linebackers are getting better.
Yeah, well, it'd be great if that guy from Oregon was available when the Eagles pick next year in the draft. I can't think of his name, the defensive end.
I mean, they better spend all their picks on defense next year.
Mhm.
And I would even go one step further. Trade the Andre Dillard, right?
Andre Dillard.
Yeah, and get some kind of a pick for him too, and then focus on the defense, man. Because the thing is that you need help with the defense, and maybe get another wide receiver, and then you're set.
Imagine if we could trade Dillard, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, and Rager. Just get draft picks. We got a lot of cap space coming up.
Then Howie would be the laughing stock, and I don't think that's going to happen. So
I'm with
he-
you, but
He is the
load up
laughing stock. But look at the offensive line though. You got to give him some credit for that. I mean, there's a lot of draft picks on that line that's playing really well.
yeah,
But you just mentioned 3 first-round picks, which are bust.
yeah.
3 first-round picks.
Yeah, but they got that guy Tyree Jackson that's going to be a diamond in the rough. Hey,
My God, yeah.
I don't think he's got a catch yet. Now, the jury's still out on him. I could see him not making the team next year. Let's take a real quick break for Kitchen World. Hold on.
Is your kitchen or bathroom outdated or in serious need of repair? Since 1987, we at Kitchen World offer the latest in custom, semi-custom, and even stock cabinetry. Our designers offer the absolute best in custom design right down to the exquisite molding details. That's Kitchen World, with showrooms in Philadelphia, Bucks, and Montgomery counties. Call Burton to set up an appointment at 267-228-9875 or check us out at kitchen-worldinc.com.
All right, we're back. And of course, I had to get a text during that darn thing, but that's quite all right. I have a question. Let's go off the cuff here before we go into next week's game. Who do you guys think is the best team in the NFL right now?
New England. New England.
How about the Colts?
Oh, come on.
Colts are coming back.
That's the
Arizona.
best thing about the NFL.
They got
don't know.
flexed. They got flexed to a night game in December. They're already starting to flex their schedule.
I can't wait for Wentz melts down under pressure.
Uh,
But that's the best thing about football right now. You don't know week to week. Look at the Texans going into Tennessee and beating the Titans. You just don't know week to week.
Yeah, I'd say the best all-around team is the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, they're still doing it with a backup
With the
quarterback. Yeah. Ertz had, 2 touchdowns this past week?
Yeah.
Colt McCoy, right? Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy. I can't even believe he's still
What
in
a
the league.
name.
I
Yeah.
forgot all about it until a few weeks ago. Yeah.
I see him being a quarterback coach / possible offensive coordinator down the road because he really helps that starting quarterback over there. But yeah, he did have one heck of a game. I don't know about the Cardinals. I just think that they could end up being a one and done team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I were the Eagles, if I were a team, the way the Eagles are playing now, if the Eagles make the playoffs, I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs right now. I wouldn't, because they got a great offensive line and a great running game.
Yeah, that's true, but still the defense is suspect. But if you had to start defense, definitely, because nobody can stop their run. Nobody.
We still haven't beat a playoff caliber team yet this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's a real big point. They looked really bad against the playoff caliber team. So even though we got the rest of the season and it's basically against teams that are with losing records, except for Dallas, the jury's still going to be out on this team. But, I think it could be exciting going to the end of the year. Let's go to this week's game. The Eagles are playing the New York Giants this week at MetLife Stadium, 1:00 on Sunday. The Giants just got over an awful game against Tampa Bay, losing 30-10. It just looked like one of those games where it was they just died a slow death. Saquon Barkley just returned after being out 4 weeks with an ankle. Joe Judge is the head coach, who may not be there much longer. Jason Garrett, the offensive coordinator, was just fired, and he was not the reason why they were not doing so good. I just think that that's just a stopgap right now. Daniel Jones, the quarterback, to me he's efficient, but I think he's nothing more than a glamorous backup quarterback. Their defense and their offense rank pretty low in production. They're 28th in the league on defense, giving up an average of 328 yards a game, and not much better on the offense. And their one touchdown yesterday was, I think, from the 5-yard line. They had a pick in the second quarter. Yeah, and they had the ball on the 3-yard line and they scored there. So they had no drives for touchdowns, none, 0. So
And Jimmy, the catcher was a lineman too.
Yeah, it was a lineman. Yeah, and it was they didn't expect it, so it really they could have gotten shut out. But Jimmy, let me start with you. Do you think for this game that the Eagles' run-pass ratio that they had last week should be about the same for this coming game?
I hope. It just worries me that that Howard's out. That's the only thing I worry about, because you got that back down there. You can just wear the defense out and knock heads over. But hopefully they continue to run the ball, because I think this is the way this team's got to win. And the Giants are going to be fired up for this game after all the shit talking they were doing with the Eagles sitting all the guys at the end of last season. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I really do. And this is a division game, so they're always good games. But hopefully we continue to run the ball. But Howard being out definitely worries me a little bit, because he's that good change of pace back that we've been wanting since LeGarrette Blount. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Boston Scott showed that he could do it the last few weeks too. So I think he should be able to step into that role and just give us that short yardage or downhill type running.
You're talking about
Boston
Scott, the giant killer.
He's a
right?
exactly the Giants killer.
I think he's going to get a large amount. I wouldn't be surprised if they start him. Because of that scenario. But Sanders will still get a lot of his runs. So, yeah, I agree 100%. I believe that Boston Scott will be a very big part of the game, and I think they're going to run the ball a lot more. Vahe, do you know what the early line is on this game?
Absolutely. I'm not going to come to the podcast without knowing the line.
Yeah.
It's -3.5 for the Eagles. So that tells me that basically is that Vegas thinks Eagles going to win.
Well, it's funny when you said that last week, that Jimmy's retort to that right away was that you're a genius. So,
I need some help with some picks.
yeah, right. Yeah, I know. So, but then again, when we get done with this podcast, you'll see that the two of you are like in the running for first place anyway. So it's 3.5. So I guess, basically, no, we're going to talk about that in a prediction, but 3.5, does that sound about right to you, Vahe?
Yeah, and probably it's going to go up to 4. I think would have been higher if it was if they had Howard back in. I fully believe that could have been 4, maybe 4.5, because Howard is a difference maker, and him being out, I think that's going to put some dent into that offense, because he can get you 4 yards under any condition. I don't think anybody else can do that. I mean, Miles Sanders, he's exciting, but he's not the guy who's going to get you 4 yards regardless. And I think that's what they're going to miss. I hope they don't get to that situation, but you know, maybe that's why it's only 3.5 points.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think all of us probably can universally agree with what you said. Will, do you see anything in Daniel Jones that actually worries you?
I don't think he's as bad as everybody thinks he is. I think he's had a lot of bad coaching, and he does make some stupid mistakes. But I mean, you still got to worry about him running. He's a lot faster than a lot of people think he is. He's very, very fast, and he can run the ball. But I think he's gonna give up the ball a few times. I think he'll probably throw for 2 interceptions just because, you know, bad play calling and bad decision making on his part. So no, I'm really not worried. Not worried at all.
Yeah, he does run a lot of the RPOs himself, but I could just see him getting hurt.
I think
Because
I,
he's
I
slightly
really
built.
think he could be successful with a better team, a better coach. I think he could be a successful quarterback. I think he really landed in a bad spot in New York.
I don't think that, let's just go to Joe Judge. I don't think he's a bad coach, but I think, and this might have a lot to do with Daniel Jones too. I don't think they have the talent on both
No.
sides of the ball, especially the lines, the offensive and defensive line. I could see the Eagles beating them on both offensive and defensive. There's nothing about this team that scares me. Nothing. But then again, they could come out and play real inspired ball. But that's basically the way I feel. But okay, with that, let's go to last week's predictions. Now, this one's going to be really, really interesting. Last week we had 2 guys that picked the Eagles, so we'll get that out of the way. Me, I had the Saints 2017. Jimmy had the Saints 27-20.
He looks stupid.
Yes, we did. So the last couple of weeks I've looked
Me
stupid.
back to back.
Yes, correct. Well, me too. Now, Will had it 33-17, which is what I thought the game was going to end up at. Vahe had 30-21 Eagles also. But when, you know, I'm thinking, Will. And then when the Saints started scoring, when the Saints were marching in, I'm saying Vahe. Okay, the final score. So we got to figure this out. The final score was 40-29. Okay. So Vahe was 10 points off on the offense and 9 points off on the defense. And Will was 7 points off on the offense, but 12 points off on the defense. I don't know. I mean, I guess,
Can we do a tie? Can we do a
you know
tie?
what? The 2 losers should actually pick this winner.
Have 2 winners. You can have 2 winners.
No. There's only going to be one winner, and Jimmy. I'm going to tell you who I think. I think Vahe's got the little better score, the closer score altogether. I don't know about you.
I mean, I kind of agree with that, but he got the final score closest. And then
Right. I thought you were going to say I agree, but because Will's getting married, you're going to give it to him.
Will was right about the majority.
Come on, I said it was going to be a blowout, and you guys laughed
and
at
it
me.
really was.
You guys laughed at me.
We did laugh. We did. But just because we laughed at you doesn't mean you get the win. And just because you're getting married Saturday doesn't mean you get the win.
Yeah, you're getting married Saturday. You got enough.
Yeah, so that you got enough going for you. You don't need the pressure of a win here, Will. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm a loser.
All right, so wait a minute.
We'll give you a better wedding gift. You're getting a better car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
All
can
right,
smoke.
sounds good.
You can smoke 2
I'll get you a
cigars at
couple-
the wedding instead of 1.
I'll get you a couple beers at the wedding.
That
Yeah,
sounds
there you
great.
go.
That sounds great.
So, well, Jimmy, I listen. I don't want to pick this on my own. We
I
have
was
to go
going back. I'm kind of with you too because Vahe had the closer
Yeah.
to the final score, but I got to give Will a lot of props. Like I did not see that
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. I watched these games. I was like, wow, well, proud
It
of
was
you.
going,
And it was,
if you put it this way, going into the early part of the fourth quarter, it was going exactly the way he
It's close
figured it
to
was
that,
going to go.
Hey,
Yep.
if we take away picking scores all year, I think I picked the winner the most.
there you go.
That's not the game we're playing though.
I know.
Maybe we'll play that game
My own
next
game.
year.
My own
Right.
game, and I thought I won.
So, all right. So then we're going to give Vahe this one, which means that Jimmy and Vahe have 3 wins apiece. And Will and I only have 1. So let's go to this week's game. And Vahe, I'll start with you.
Can I go last so I can think about it while you're speaking?
Is that cheating? Wait a minute.
Why? No.
You know what? He's going to get together with those 4 Armenian guys in back of him to pick out a score.
Okay,
He's trying
okay,
to see,
I'll, okay,
trying
I'll
to
go
see if the line changes.
okay, I'll go first. 30-10 Eagles.
Wow.
Damn it, that's what I was gonna say.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Really?
Are you talking
30?
about yesterday's score with Tampa Bay or this week's score?
This week's score is going to be 30-10.
30-10. Okay. Will?
37-9 Eagles.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
That's a
Wow.
blowout.
Yeah, Jim.
I got, wow. How about that?
Anybody picking the Giants?
Yeah, Jim.
Come on, Jim. Just jump in the water. The water feels good.
I'm going to go. Oh, man, I don't really want to do this, but I say the Giants win 28-24.
Seriously?
I'll tell you. Has he picked the Eagles one time?
I
this
don't think I have.
year? I don't think he has.
I don't think I have. I don't. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm excited that they're playing really good. I'm just like, what am I saying? Is this really happening? Like, I don't know.
I think right now, when I heard your prediction, I'm saying to myself, is this really happening? So, wow, 28-24 Giants.
I may look like a fool for the 3rd straight
Yeah.
week.
Now, I'm going to say that the Giants are going to play inspired ball, but they don't have the weapons. And I think the Eagles are going to overtake them. I'm going to go 21-10. Eagles.
Wow, you guys all got double digits, man.
I just think that they just don't have anything that scares me. And I think their running game will end up, pounding them a little bit down the road. Any last minute thoughts before we wind this down?
I'm excited we got meaningful football going into the new year.
Who's going to be the linebacker that Tavion Taylor's not playing? Is it going to be Singleton?
Yeah, it's gonna be Singleton.
Okay.
Do we?
And you know what? By the end of the Sunday afternoon, they could be the wild card team.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And 5 of their wins would be on the road.
Yeah.
That's even
the
more
Road
impressive.
Warriors. The Road Warriors.
Even more
Right.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible, but what's going to happen? They're talking them up this week. The only thing I want to say is if the second fumble by Sanders was a fumble, which it could have been, the only reason they didn't call it a fumble is because they blew the whistle. But if that was a fumble and New Orleans gets the ball down there by the goal line and scores again, this could have been a whole different ball game. A whole different ball game. So I don't take much value in their win and how they, were blowing them out. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on this one. And I'm just not so sure, but the next couple of weeks is going to tell us if they are head and heels over Washington and, the New York Giants. So any other last minute thoughts?
Does anybody have any concerns at all that Hurts has only thrown for over 200 yards 4 times this season?
You got them pretty big, right? So you don't, right?
Well, Lamar Jackson, when he was MVP, had the same passing numbers. That when he was the MVP, his numbers throwing the football were the same. Nobody was talking about him negatively the way people in this town are still talking about Hurts. So,
Well, John Ritchie today on the radio was saying that Hurts, he was constantly comparing him to Tom Brady. And then in the same sentence, he also said that Kirk Cousins was a top 5 QB in this league.
What?
So, yeah, I don't know.
that's I don't know what he was thinking, and I value his opinion very much. But anyway, let's sign. We're going to sign this off here. And speaking of the wedding, we're going to get our picture taken with all 4 of us, and there is a cigar bar there, Vahe. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
And I know that we may be firing up later on, so maybe we'll
I could
get
bring the
picture
cigars
with
with
the
me.
cigars and make.
I can bring the cigars with
No,
me.
you don't need to. No, you don't need to, because I have just under 100 that I'm bringing. So we got everything, the torches, the cutters, the whole 9 yards here. So maybe when we get that picture taken, we'll take it with the,
cigars.
with cigars in hand. But Vahe, you got to do me a favor. I hope you look as good as the 3 of us did in our picture.
No, that's
Yeah,
one thing I'm not going to be able to do.
You're going to make it look even better.
No.
Make it look even better.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
We
So-
could have the photographer take a still shot of just Vahe, and we'll Photoshop him in the
There you go.
Thanks,
Do you
guys.
think-
Thanks,
There you
guys.
go. You think there's a shot that we can put that picture out in the sunshine with him?
Yeah.
So we'll have to discuss that. So, but that's a good idea. We're going to have to get the photographer to take the picture, the 4 of us,
Yeah.
to complete the podcast. All right.
Will, are you ready for Saturday?
Yeah. Are you ready?
You ready?
You ain't ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
You
my
better
daughter's
be.
right here, and she's probably listening to that right now. So,
I better-
but
You want me to get
anyway.
to church early, Will, so I could talk to you, calm you down?
Oh, please, man.
oh
please.
yeah, Jimmy, you'll definitely calm him down. I'll see it right now. I remember. Just keep thinking about how great your podcast was. You did pretty good. I give you about an A- today. So the podcast was good. There's no nerves for the wedding.
Do you think Ant now, since he's able to marry people, he can do a confession for me?
No.
I'll tell
No.
you, he's going to be excited about the cigar
Oh
bar.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He'll
He
be
smokes
excited
them
about
too.
that.
Yeah. All right. So let's close this down. So podcast number 11 is in the books. Thanks again. Flying high with the birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk. See you next week.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
Good luck, Will. See you
All right, guys.
Saturday.
All
See you
right.
Saturday.
See you
See you
later.
guys.
Yeah.